What is good, fam? You know who I am, Wealthy Westbrooks, back with another video. Chosen Ones Tap In, Chosen Ones Tap In. Yo, if you like this hoodie, man, follow the Chosen Ones Collection on Instagram, Chosen Ones Collection. Listen, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and join the tribe. If you've been tuned in, then you already know the vibe. Appreciate you for being here. Listen, make sure you hit the like button, okay? It helps the video get to more people. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel good. You know what I'm saying? It helps me make more videos, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. It lets me know you're watching the video. Hit the like button. At the very least, just hit the like button. Or don't. You know what? I don't even care. Make sure you watch this video all the way to the end, okay? Because look, here's what I want to do. I want to talk about something real quick. In my last video, I was talking real heavy about, you know, people who don't have money, people who are broke, and this, that, and the third. Now listen, I understand how that can come off. And so I don't want to be misunderstood, although I'm always misunderstood and misinterpreted. Because, you know, as a chosen one, that's just how it is, you know? But I want to sort of clear the air and provide you with a little bit of a backstory, you know, that way it could be relatable to you, right? Because listen, there was a time in my life when I was like very much in a situation where, yeah, like maybe joining an inner circle for $9 a month wasn't even an option for me. Like I'm sitting here talking like, yo, if you can't afford $9 a month, you're cooked. But like I remember a time when, like, bro, like I need a $9 a month. Yeah, bro, like, and so I want to make it clear because that was my mindset. I realized I was cooked. Like I had to call myself out, right? The level of self-awareness and the self-humility and just the truth, like the confrontation that you have to be able to face and the facts that you have to admit, you know, to yourself. If you're fucked up in the game, if you're tripping, if you're down and out, if you're in debt, if you have no money, if you're jobless, or if, you know, your relationship is not working out, if you're single, if, you know what I'm saying, you just don't have the life that you want. Like at the end of the day, yeah, things happen to you. Things have happened to you. You know, we've been through a lot. Life is not fair. People have different circumstances and scenarios and events and people that put them through, you know, the ringer. And then we come out of it, you come out of it like, you know, you got to, you know, you're shook up. But if you're not aware that you're shook up, then you'll stay shook up. So you got to be able to, you know, dust yourself off, right? You got to dust yourself off and get back up. You know, I should have a lint roller. It's okay. You know, it's only that's like 9 o'clock in the morning. But you got to be able to dust yourself off, right? It's not about how many times you fall down. It's about how many times you can get back up, right? And in those times when I had like, you know, really no really no safety net, no security, you know, like no stability, no foundation. During those times, it was really embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? Like I, like to myself, like just having to look at myself in the mirror and be like, yo, you're fucking up, right? Like that's something that takes a lot of vulnerability. You have to be able to tell yourself like, I'm fucking up. You got to be able to admit that to yourself. You have to also be able to admit like, you want more, right? And you hate the current circumstances. Like you got to be okay with saying, I hate this life, this relationship, this person, this job, this boss, this fucking reality, this fucking city, you know, like this body. And not in a way where it's like completely negative, but you transmute it in a sense where it's like, you know, you're fed up and enough is enough, and you have a desire for more. And in my mentorship, I go through desire because desire is such an important concept in this work. See, I want a lot of you to understand the work and the value of what I bring to the table. This is not just motivation. I know a lot of you need the motivation, and I'm happy to give it to you. I'm happy to provide the motivation because I have my motivation on point. So I'm sure I'm just living my life, and I'm willing to share and show what I do and talk about it. But the motivation is only going to get you so far. And so the point is getting to a point where you really have your life together, getting to a point where you really are in congruence and alignment with your divine assignment. Let me fix this real quick. Right? And you got to stay focused. Let me park the car, hold on. Right? Because when you're in a situation where you're aware, like, okay, like this is my situation, like you're not mad about it to an extent where you're gonna like be suicide. You're not gonna blow your, not gonna, you know what I'm saying, you're not gonna end it all. But you have to get to that point in life where you're like, oh my God, like this, like something's got to change, right? Because if nothing moves, nothing moves. You know, if nothing moves, nothing moves. You have to be willing to know that and admit that to yourself. And so, you know, sort of just looking back, you know, when I was in that space, I had to really buckle down and sacrifice, you know, and again, be vulnerable enough to tell myself like, yo, like something's gotta change here. Because if not, this is not going to end well. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're building a life, you know, and it's not going the way you're planning your own, you're essentially creating your own demise, and you don't want to do that, right? You want to do the opposite. You want to build your own destiny in a positive light. And so, I want to bring this all together to really help you out. Just give me a second, because I want to gather my thoughts and catch this download. Because here's the deal. It's like, I remember the struggle, but like, I knew that the struggle wasn't for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew that I was not here to struggle. And so I had to make that decision, right? I knew I was broke, and I'm like, okay, this cannot be my life, right? I had to make that decision. I had to decide, like, no, there's no way. I need to re-identify with everything. Like, that's what you need to start doing. Like, look at your life, look at your circumstance, look at the people you're around, look at your environment, look at your job. If you're not fulfilled, if you're not satisfied, if it's not creating alignment with the calling that God has given you, then you will be living like a life of torture. You'll be living in hell. And until you get into alignment with your divine assignment, you're never going to feel free. You're never going to feel prosperous. You're never really going to even be blessed for real. The reason I'm so blessed now is because I said, God, you know what? I give it all up. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, I got on my knees and prayed to God. And I said, I don't know what to do, because what I was doing was not working. What I thought I was supposed to do, like all these little jobs I would try to go to, all these little 9-to-5s, I would just, none of that shit. I mean, they all played a perfect role for me. And there's nobody, and shout out to you if you have a great job and you love it. But all the jobs that I went to, first of all, I did very well at. I either did it very well, like so good, like I was one of the top employees or producers or sales. Most of my 20s, I was in sales. Besides real estate, which is a tough industry, respectfully, you know, depending on who you ask, I pretty much crushed every industry I was into, like sales and marketing, right? And I'm talking about, like, a lot of you don't know me. A lot of you don't know me from like where I've been. Like, you just see my life now, you're like, oh damn, must be nice. But you don't know the work that I put in. You don't know what the fuck I actually had to do to get here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had not always had it like this. Like, we grew up in a city where, like, I had to hustle to help provide in a way, because we had to be very cheap and very frugal, you know? And the life that I live now it is so far from what I used to live, in a sense where it's like, you know, what's possible, like just being able to see what's possible. Like, up until a certain age, I didn't even know certain things were possible. And so maybe that's you right now. Maybe you see that's on the internet. You're like, damn, like you might see your life and you look around, you're like, that's impossible, because you see somebody on the internet, but then you see your phone, you're like, but this is real life. My life is not that much different than it used to be. I'm not that much different of a person, and your life and your personality and such hopefully will remain in a way. Well, what I'm really saying is, some things change, some things don't. You know, some things remain. And what I really want you to understand is, you have to be the same while you remain. Meaning, never forget who you are. You know what I'm saying? Always remember where you come from. You know what I'm saying? And stay true to your roots, and remember what you went through to get to where you're at, and what you had to do to get to where you're at, and who helped you along the way. And you know what I'm saying? That's why I'm grateful for all the jobs that I had, you know what I'm saying? Because they all did help me get through those times and figure out myself. They showed me what I wanted and showed me what I didn't want. They taught me what I wanted and what I didn't want. And I also met some cool people. I learned a lot of skills. I learned a lot of things about myself. I learned a lot of things about business. I learned a lot about businesses, sales, marketing. I learned a lot about advertising. I learned a lot about customer service. I learned a lot about psychology and sociology, and I learned a lot about investing. I've learned so much just through the economy, about like just taxes and personal finances and how people handle their LLCs and their corporations, and how people conduct themselves with their assets and their liabilities. And literally, just I've learned so much through all the jobs that I've had, and it's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. But if you're somebody who's working a job, and I just want you to know, like, everybody's dream comes true, and you can build your own business. You can take what you learned from that job and build something for yourself. No shade, no disrespect, no hate towards the job, But I'm so grateful to be in a position that I'm in right now. Like, sometimes I just look at my life and I just have to thank God, because I don't have to answer to anybody. No one has to tell me what to do. I'm not stuck, obligated to do something to earn a little bit of money. And I got so freaking just fed up again. Like, that's not even really the word for it. Just beyond it wasn't even anger, right? It's more like it wasn't disgusted. It's just like, when your consciousness is, and God is telling you, to do something else other than what you're doing, it gets loud. The voice gets loud, and it just got so loud. It got so loud, right? Like, I couldn't even sleep sometimes, and I'll just be sitting there like staring at the screen and and then you just be like, I don't, like, if you catch yourself being like, I don't want to do this, then why are you doing it? Oh, I need the money, Henry, Aaron, I need the money, don't you understand? Well, then you've completely misunderstood the whole point of what money is. Money's not here to just pay your bills, and money's not just here to create survival. Like, I had to create a new relationship with what money is and what money was, and I had to ask God, like, to help me with money, because clearly my whole plan with what I was trying to do and work super, super hard just to make a little bit of money and live check to check, and shit was not working out. You know what I'm saying? Until I learned, okay, boom, then I got into sales. Sales was the first thing that worked out for me, because I had no cap on my commissions. If you're watching this video, understand that if you're doing a job, get into a sales job, because then you're not limited to just a wage. You're not limited to just a set per hour rate. A sales job is something where you can sell a product, you can sell a service, or you can sell anything that's of value or can appreciate effectively, and you can earn a commission, right? You can earn a set hourly rate plus commission. Those are the only type of jobs that I was going for. I learned a lot about the timeshare industry and vacations and hospitality and how to treat people and travel. I've learned so much about just luxury services and jacuzzi. I've learned so much about, sometimes I got to reflect on all the different jobs that I've had, just designer fashion. I worked at a Nordstrom. I've worked at a jacuzzi store. I've worked at I used to deliver pizzas. You learn a lot about, that's when I was that's like right after college. I'm just saying, like, I've had a long life of just hustling and grinding and trying to figure this out and navigate it out. And I picked up Think and Grow Rich when I was still in, I want to say I was still in college. I was like 17. Maybe I had just graduated college. I had just started college, yeah. Just started college. Or maybe I just graduated. I was 21. Somewhere in that timeline. I don't remember exactly, but right around there. I picked up the book Think and Grow Rich because I was like, this is fucking crazy, and I wanted to level up my life, And I just got so sick of being sick and tired. You got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. So much to the point where you're like willing to do anything and everything to change your life. Within ethics, within morals, with dignity and integrity. I did freaking a lot of different jobs to try to get by. So I know what it's like to struggle. It's really the point I'm trying to tell you. Like, if you're out there just being like, oh, Henry Aaron, well, this is the way it is, and I got to do this. Like, yeah, like, your life is the way it is because it's the way it's just what you've created. Like, every decision and thought and feeling, and it is the way it is. We get it. Your life, it is, and some things we can't change. The prayer of serenity is to accept the things you cannot change. To have the courage to change the things you can and have the wisdom to know the difference. And so I wish that upon myself, and I pray for that upon all of us, because some things you cannot change, but some things you can change, and you have to have that wisdom to know the difference. And not only the wisdom to know the difference, but you also need the courage to make the change when it's possible, when it's a possibility. And that's really what it is. Like, if you're stuck right now, you're like, oh my God, I can't afford it. Like, come up with a plan. You got to start penny pinching. You got to come up with a new creativity idea. You got to get a new job. You got to, like, go to work. Go ask people, what can I help you with? I'm trying to look at something. Let me look at this car real quick. Is that not yet? Shit's all right. Little dang. I know I'm sort of ranting and rambling through this video, but the whole point of what I wanted to say ultimately is, like, don't feel bad if you're, like, stuck. Don't feel bad if you're down and out. Don't feel bad if you don't have a lot right now. But you gotta say, fuck that. You can't be like, oh, this is my life. This is me. Whoop-de-doo. I guess this is what it is. It's okay, because God's gonna help me someday. No, you have to that shit is not gonna happen like that. No, fuck no. Maybe you need to sober up. First thing I recommend is, like, getting a fucking clear mind, okay? And then start hitting the gym. Get in shape. You need to take care of your body physically. If you're not in good shape, or at least not, like, in a sense where you're controlling your body, like the physical body, like telling your body, okay, I'm gonna do this, and then you do that. Like, the relationship with what you eat, like the vessel, you have to control this, by going to the gym and with your diet, and even reading, like consumption on a mental diet and what you absorb. All that stuff can change your life quickly when you start to change that. If you can master that, then you can start to master your life. And it doesn't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter, because we're starting today with a fresh new start. And that's really what I want to help you do. I want to help you start today to say, fuck whatever you've been through, or, okay, great, yes, you've been through all that, not to dismiss it, not to, okay, cool. I'd rather, quite frankly, be working with people who are already fucking established and who get this shit. But I'm aware that there's a large majority of people who are just completely down and out, and they don't know what the fuck is going on in the world, and that's fine. But my message is really for top performers.